What is going on, everyone? Guess what? The week is over. I know, can you believe it? Just like that, 6 days are gone. But it's not over yet. It's Friday, and that means it is time for a week-ending episode of the Level 1 podcast. And on today's show, we will be doing something special, something cool. Today is the 1-year anniversary of the release of the Nintendo Switch 2. And because of that, I will be doing a special segment on the show, my 1-year retrospective with this console. What are my thoughts on the Switch 2? What games did I play in the last year? What about the Joy-Cons? Was it worth it? And should you get one? You'll find out if you tune in today for this special segment. But in addition, if you're not aware, last night on social media, Wings of Redemption retired from the internet. What? Yeah. Well, we're going to read it together and we're going to talk about it and respond. Plus, updates on all the game playthroughs I'm doing, updates on Pokemon unpackings, and more. It's going to be a great show to end the week. I'm also excited because guess what? Today is a new game premiere of the 7th Guest Remake, which we're going to be doing after the show. So, it's a good one. Sit back and relax, ladies and gentlemen. It is time for a week-ending special edition of the Level 1 Podcast. Alrighty, everybody. It's time for the Level 1 Podcast for Friday, the 5th of June, 2026. Now, before we jump into anything, let's address the elephant in the room. Yes, I am well aware that today is Summer Game Fest. There will be a huge, big show this afternoon, starting at around 1:30 to 2 p.m.-ish Pacific time. If it's anything like normal Summer Game Fest, it's likely going to run 2 to 3 hours long. I mean, the thing is usually very bloated, okay? And you might say, well, are you going to live react to it? Are you going to do any content about it? Well, the answer is yes, I am going to do content on it, but not today. Because the last 2 years, I live reacted to Summer Game Fest. It was a huge flop. People did not like it. They showed up, but did not engage, did not support. Ended up getting low views. It ended up getting demonetized because you're watching this licensed content with music in it and everything gets blocked or claimed, and it's just a waste of time. So instead of live reacting to Summer Game Fest and literally wasting my entire stream, we're going to do a fun podcast. We're going to play some 7th Guest Remake. And then this coming Sunday, when I come back from my break, then I will react to the things that you guys have chosen for me to look at for Summer Game Fest. I mean, this worked very, very well when we did it with the State of Play with the Sony presentation earlier this week. We waited the next day. You all recommended stuff. I watched all these trailers, and it ended up being a big hit. Everyone liked it. So, that is exactly what we're going to do with Summer Game Fest. Now, I'm also well aware that on Sunday, Xbox is doing a show as well. So, same deal here, where when that's going on, you guys recommend things to watch, and I'll be live reacting to them on the podcast either Sunday or maybe the morning show Monday. And that way, I'll be able to do all of my reactions. We'll isolate them into my morning content, and we'll still be able to do gameplay streams. I'm just not willing to sacrifice gameplay streams for streams that are going to do poorly or get demonetized. It just doesn't make sense. So, good morning, everyone, and I hope you're all doing well. Welcome to the week-ending episode of the podcast. I'm excited for today. You know, a year with a new console. It's been a pretty interesting run, to say the least. And today I'm going to give you my take on what I thought about Switch 2 after having it and playing on it for the entirety of the year. Plus, we got to talk about wings and a lot more stuff, right? So, good stuff. How is everyone this morning? Let's see who's here and what's going on. Let's do some shout-outs. We'll start off today. Say good morning. Say thank you to the first contributor, and then we'll get right into it. So, on the YouTube side, we got F for Fake, Jaden, Dark Lady Goth, AFC Marco, Sammy the Cat, Chief Wiggum. Let's see, AR, Dr. Cobalt Lightning, Juicy Thug Shaker. Okay. Celt, how you doing? No, Celt, I do not have any kind of a public Discord or anything like that. Mr. Magoo's Eye Doctor, how are you? Sinful Rhapsody, Toasty, what's up? John, good morning. Good to see you. Robust Tangy, okay. Actually, that looks like it's going to be a troll, so just get rid of him. Assassin Gamer 007, Big Mac, Crow, how are you? Gabriel, good morning. What's up, everybody? To all the regulars just coming in, how you doing? On the kick side, we've got Maestro David, Eliza Pancakes, Bizarre Pronunciation, Toasty Chestnuts, Asthma Goal, Most Tasteless. Who else do we got? Spoons, Zanzibar Night, the Denim Banana Hand Cart. Now we're talking. How y'all doing this morning? I hope you're doing well. What's up, everybody? Good morning, Copium, I see. And welcome to the show. First shout out of the day goes to Musty Squatch, who did a $2 super chat before the show even started and said, hello, Phil. Well, what's up, Musty Sasquatch? I don't know if you're still there. I don't see you typing in the chat. But thank you so much. Oop, I spelled it wrong. There we go. For our first contribution of the day. And I believe since, we're starting the show, let's get this out of the way now, shall we? First of all, let me get a sip of water. And then, let's talk about how things went this week with everything that we're doing. Okay, we're at the end of the week, and what are the results? So what playthroughs are we still doing? Lego Batman Legacy of the Dark Knight, where we only have chapters 5 and 6 left, and what people are telling me is that those chapters are short, so 1 to 2 more streams, and we're actually going to complete Lego Batman. Okay? Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Well, we're just about to hit the halfway point of the game. We're about to get to the point where the castle flips, and then we get into the second half where apparently the game gets a lot more difficult. Okay. Pokemon Champions. We've done a couple streams of this game, and so far I really like it. The first stream was just kind of messing around and trying to learn the basics. The second stream was getting more serious, balancing my team, actually building them with, movesets that make sense and that you can actually win with. And I'm on a 7-win streak and continuing. So when I play again, we resume that streak. That's going to be fun. And then TCG Card Store Sim. We played this last night, and it was pretty fun and chill. You're running a card store. You're learning the ins and outs of how these card stores work. Not only are you buying and selling basic new product, but also you are buying and selling and trading cards. You're actually opening packs, finding valuable cards, grading them, and then selling them or buying them from the people who come into the store. So it's very interesting that you're basically kind of learning about cards as we have implemented Pokemon cards into my content, okay? So, all that being said, those playthroughs are all continuing on the channel, and it looks like Lego Batman will finish sooner rather than later, okay? It does. It looks like probably another stream or two it's done. And it's time for our very first flex of the day. Yeah! Thank you so much to Geiga Woke for getting the flexing going today. Thank you, Geiga Woke, for starting us off nicely there. I appreciate that. He says, rest in peace, Wings. Yeah, it's unfortunate what's going on with Wings of Redemption. We're going to talk about it together. We're going to see what he had to say about it and go from there, and I'll give you my honest reaction about all of it, okay? Cool. I also got a $2 anonymous tip, and this guy's talking about turds. That's pretty disgusting. But thanks for the $2 anonymous tip. Regardless, I appreciate the early support here for the stream. Okay. I'm serious. He was talking about juicy turds or something. Like, okay, good for you. Thanks for $2. All right, so all those playthroughs are continuing. Now, for the most part, they're doing well. Even the playthroughs that have kind of slowed down, yesterday, Symphony of the Night did decent, didn't do great, but didn't do bad. It's a little disappointing when the first 2 streams did well, and all of a sudden you have a little bit of a slowdown. Lego Batman, that last stream did not do well. So I don't know if Lego Batman has just petered out and people don't care about it anymore, or maybe it was just a one-off stream. But the thing is, we're so far in, we're going to beat it. we're over 15 hours into a game. I'm going to continue with it, and we're going to wrap it up. I'm still having a good time with both of those games. We're going to continue on with them. I do hope that Symphony of the Night picks up because I've really liked it, and I want to see the second half. I've never seen the second half of Symphony of the Night when the castle flips, because back in the day when I played it 20 years ago, I stopped playing it at that point. So obviously I want to now get past that point that I quit at so long ago. So hopefully people will actually show up for it and support it when I play it next. As for Pokemon Champions and the TCG game, so far so good. Those streams are doing well. They're very heavily ingrained with the card pack openings of Pokemon cards because I open a free pack and then people contribute. Like last night, for example, with TCG, we opened 3 packs of cards. With the Pokemon stream the other night, I think we opened 2 or 3. I can't remember if it was 2 or 3, but they're doing well in that regard, okay? Now, what about Pokemon card pack openings in general? All right. Well, the first box of Pokemon cards, that was the Mega Evolution set, we were opening tons of cards a day. There was one day we opened like 10 packs of cards in one day out of the 36 that was in the box. But it always varied. There was one day we opened none, okay? But now we got the new box. And this box is called Phantasmal Flames, okay? It's supposed to be a much more valuable set of cards than the Mega Evolution was. So far, we've opened, I want to say, 8 packs, because I think we're down to 28 packs left. So we opened like 8, no, wait. We opened 12 packs, because we're down to 24. That's right, we opened 12 packs so far. So we're opening a rate of 4 a day, roughly, okay? But some days I'm opening a free pack for a TCG stream or a Pokemon stream. Other days I'm not. Today, we're not opening any free packs. So if someone does a $50 contribution at any point during today, we'll open a pack of Pokemon cards live on that stream. So right now, during this podcast, if you do a $50 tip, $50 super chat, 10 subs, 17 memberships, I'll open a pack, okay? But probably today, I would think, we probably won't open many or any, because we're doing the 7th Guest Remake, and we're doing fighting games today. I don't think there's going to be much incentive for people who like Pokemon cards to come by and see the packs open. I'm just saying, more than likely, we'll come back to this on a day when we're either playing Pokemon Champions or the TCG card game, and then we'll get back into it. But never say never. There's some days I thought we wouldn't open any, and then we did. So if you're interested for a $50 contribution, whether it's a tip, super chat, subs, kicks, whatever it is, we'll open a pack of cards. However, I do have something to say. Okay, I do. This is kind of important. We've now opened 12 packs of the Phantasmal Flames, okay? I'm starting to suspect something may be up. I'm serious. Since the day I got the box 3 days ago, people were like, this may be a reseal pack. You might say, what? Yeah, people are saying it may be a resealed box, and judging by the pulls that we've had in the first 12 packs that I've opened, I haven't really gotten anything. We got 2 versions of EX Lopunny, one of which is like 60 cents and one is like $3 or $4. And then we got some EX Penguin that's worth like $3. And that's actually it. Like, we didn't get any real full art cards. We haven't gotten any real pulls of any significance at all. And we're a third of the way through the box. So either I have had incredibly bad luck pulling the order of the packs, or something might be up. And I'm wondering if this is a bad thing that's going on, that people are buying these cards off a reseller's market, and these resellers have found a way to make it look like the boxes are sealed, but actually they've gone in there and somehow, what people have suspected is that what they do is they open the box and they weigh the packs, and the packs that are slightly heavier have a high chance to have a chase card in it. So they just remove the packs that have slightly more weight, and they replace them with packs that have less weight, and then they find a way to reseal it to make it look like it was never opened, and then they sell you that box, and basically you got a box of duds. Could it be? I mean, it's a possibility that, yes, this is a scam box, but we don't know that, because there's still 24 packs left in there, so it could literally just be bad luck, okay? So I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's all bullshit. It could be complete, like someone just said, it's all fear-mongering. Mr. Spokesman, or no, Mr. 5 Pokemon says it's all bullshit. It's all just fear-mongering. It actually doesn't exist. So who knows, right? We don't know if it's true or not. We won't know until we get further into this box. So let's see what happens. Today, if we get contributions, I'd love to open more packs, but I'm not going to be bringing it up constantly because there's really no point. So Spoon says, The normal rate is about 3 illustration rares per box and 1 SR. So you mean 3 full arts, illustration rares. What is an SR? Okay, let me ask you this. When you're saying illustration rare, that's the 1-star gold, correct? And the SR would be 2-star gold? Is that what you're saying? Because here's the truth. That first box Mega Evolution, I didn't get any 2-star golds. I got 1-star golds in that full. It was the Mega Venusaur EX. That's the one that was worth $13. But that's it. I never got like a 2-star gold in that box. You know? So I see what you're saying. All right. Well, let's see what happens, okay? I'm curious. Let's keep it going. Let's get some support for Pokemon card openings. If you like the streams, you like the content, but I don't want to sit here and talk about it all day because today we're not even doing this kind of content, all right? So it's available. Let me know if you want it. Let's continue. Okay. All right. So, that's that. Now, 7th Guest Remake starts today. For those who don't know, 7th Guest was a game that came out in the early 90s. I want to say it was like 1993. It was a PC exclusive game. It was also on the 3DO. It is a point-and-click adventure puzzle game. It's set inside of a mansion. Supposedly, it's like a murder mystery with ghosts. I don't know much else about it because I never played it. This is my first experience with the game, and I'm actually excited to play it with all of you today. Hopefully, it's entertaining and fun and something different. Is it going to do huge numbers? Probably not. It's an old game. But it's remade in HD, you know, has full HD graphics, upscaled scanning of the FMV and everything. It should be pretty fun. And certainly, it should be something different. It's not the kind of game that I play rarely at all would I ever touch this kind of game. I hope it does well. If it does well, I'm going to keep it in the rotation. We're going to actually do the whole game, but I don't know how well it's going to do. This may be a one-off. It very well could be we play it once and no one likes it, and then we're like, oh, crap. So hopefully you guys will stick around after the podcast for that. It's going to be something different for sure, and I'm excited for it. I hope that you will at least give it a chance, okay? So, we have 5 games in the rotation, but Lego Batman will finish sooner rather than later. Pokemon Champions I'm liking, but there is a big divide in my viewership, and here's what I mean. Some of my viewers are actually upset that I'm playing Pokemon Champions right now, and I haven't jumped into another full-fledged Pokemon game. You know, a one with story and exploration. They don't like the fact that this game is just duels, okay? So, I get it. People are upset because I'm doing a game that's really not a full-fledged Pokemon game. But, there are people who like it. There are people who are enjoying it, and I want to give it a chance. I don't want to just say, hey, because it's different, we don't do it, you know? And there are people who did show up to the streams and are enjoying them and supporting them. Let's try it again next week. As long as people keep showing up for it, then I think that we should keep doing it. Now, I feel that perhaps it will be a week next week where the Pokemon Champions dies out. And if that's the case, that's okay. But then we'll have to make the decision. Do you guys want me to start with Shining Pearl and Brilliant Diamond? Or should we give Pokemon a rest for a bit? I mean, we have been playing Pokemon literally non-stop now since the fall. When I started Pokemon Legends ZA back in like September, and we played that through January with its DLC. Then we gave it a little break. Then we went to Pokemon Fire Red. And now we're playing Pokemon Champions. So are we Pokemon'd out? Or is it good? Should I start, you know, Shining Pearl or Brilliant Diamond? And if I do, which one? So it's something to talk about. It's something to figure out. But let's give Pokemon Champions a try next week and go from there. Harry Henderson. Thank you, Harry. With a $2 super chat says, it's Pokemon, not Pokemon. No, it's Pokemons. It's the Pokemon. See, look. It's Pokemons. Just like that. Thank you, Harry, for $2. I appreciate that. It's the Pokey and the Man. Pokemons. Okay, my nose itches. Let's see here. So, I have received a $1.50 tip. There's a huge scandal with TCG Player and resealed scam boxes. People are resealing boxes and going around the anti-counterfeit measures. They have scales and detectors that pick up the foil in the ink used in Rare. It is said 89% of boxes are now compromised. Be careful. Literally, we just had one person in chat who said it's all fear-mongering and nonsense. People are making it up. And now you insist that it's all real. So, who knows, right? Like I said, I feel like the first box, the Mega Evolution box, if it were a scam box, then I would have never pulled the Mega Venusaur. Like, it would have not had that Mega Venusaur in it, right? That's what I think anyway. This box, being a third through it, and we don't even have, like, a special illustration rare yet, is kind of weird. So I am skeptical of this Phantasmal Flames box. We got 24 packs left. We won't know until we pull more and we open more. Let's see what happens. But I guess we'll see. Okay? Maestro David says, no, it is fear-mongering. You just didn't get lucky yet. I don't know. I'm the newcomer to all of this. The truth is, I'm having fun. Okay? I am. So... okay. Okay. All right. So, that's the schedule. Next week, are there any new games? Not particularly. If you actually look at next week's release schedule, okay, there aren't currently any high-profile new games coming out next week. Okay, so what that means is next week we could just continue on with all the games we're playing and try to wrap some of them up, focus on them, you know, complete some. Or... if we finish Lego Batman, if we decide to stop with Pokemon Champions, we could then put something else in there. We'll have to see. Okay? So, let's see how it goes next week. There are newer games coming out later in the month. But also, there's something to consider here. Summer Game Fest is today. The Xbox event is on Sunday. Very high chance that there will be some shadow drops and or big new announcements in the next couple of days. And that might change the schedule for June. And that's okay. We're not really doing anything too crazy high profile right now that we wouldn't be able to shift the schedule around if we need to do it, okay? So let's see what happens and go from there. But next week should still be fun. And on Monday, I haven't decided yet if I should do DSP Tries It, the new spicy chicken sandwich and the new jalapeno ranch burger from Wendy's, or should I do the new tropical smash burger from Sonic, along with this new summertime drink, because they have both. Both places have new stuff on the menu, and I'm trying to debate what I want to get. I'm just not sure. So let me know. We got to decide by Sunday, so I know what to get on Monday. But I'm down for either. Like, I think either of those would be good episodes of DSP Tries It. I haven't done either in a while, so let me know what you think. Caliban says Tropical Smash. What's up, Game Boy? Good to see ya. And Helixification says, that's a cool shirt. When and where did you get it? I literally just received it the other day, and I got it from the website. I think it's the Yeti. It's YETEE. They have exclusive gaming and pop culture related merchandise, and they have Hollow Knight Silk Song shirts like this. That shirt I wore yesterday of the Mega Man 2 bosses, I got that there as well. It's a pretty good site for this stuff, but the thing is, their stuff is timed, meaning you have to buy it when it's in stock during a time period. They don't infinitely restock. It's kind of like drops. You know what I'm saying? So they actually just dropped these shirts recently, and I had my eye on something. I wanted something, either Hollow Knight or Silk Song, and I said, oh, that looks really cool. So there you go. Okay. Stealth and Shadow says, rumored announcements, Fallout 3 Remastered, Minecraft Dungeons 2, and a new Halo. I don't really care about Minecraft Dungeons 2, but I'd be all over Fallout 3 Remastered. We haven't played a Fallout game now in 2-3 years, and I've wanted to go back and replay Fallout 3, so if it's remastered, that'd be amazing. That would be something I'd put, you know, right into the schedule. If it's dropping, yeah, let's go. Let's play it, right? That'd be really sweet. Okay. All right, folks. So, we got all that out of the way. Thank you for the early support. I appreciate that. Please support the stream today. Let's get support for not only this stacked podcast, but also for 7th Guest Remake. Please, let's make this a good stream to end the week, okay? All right. First topic that I want to get and get out of the way. I want to take a look at what happened last night with Wings. All right? So, for those who don't know, Wings of Redemption has had a rough couple of months. First, he was saying publicly that a lot of his supporters were getting doxxed and or harassed by his trolls, meaning people who were his regular contributors coming to his streams and dropping a lot of contributions were getting all their information posted up on Kiwi Farms and or other websites and being doxxed in Discord servers and then getting harassed in real life as a result. People coming to their homes and messing with them, calling them and stuff like that. This prompted the people to basically disappear from the internet and stop supporting his content. So, he joined LolCow Live again. For those who aren't aware, he had not been on Lalcal Live for over a year because he wanted to stay, out of the toxicity of the show. He wanted to just do his own content, okay? But because now he felt he was going to have a big decrease in the income on his streams because of this happening to his big supporters, he went back to a show called Lalcal Crypt. So this is not the main show. This is a show that's like a morning show, and it had David Jaffe as part of the cast. David Jaffe is the game developer who made games like Twisted Metal and the original God of Wars back in the day, okay? So basically, he's doing a show with a game developer who probably made games that he grew up playing, and he liked the experience. He did it for a few weeks. I think it was like 3 weeks to a month. Well, all of a sudden, a little over a week ago, out of nowhere, he announced he's off the show. And they did an announcement basically saying, well, the reason he's off the show is because he just wants to avoid internet harassment with his trolls. Well, when they announced he was off the show, he also stopped streaming entirely on his own channel. So basically, he disappeared from the internet. And then apparently he deleted his entire public Discord server where he had all his fans and viewers and mods and friends. Everyone was on there. He deleted the whole thing and basically had no contact with anyone for over a week. So people didn't know if the guy was all right. Like, no one knew what the hell was going on with him. And then last night, out of nowhere, Jordy posted up the following on X. Ready? Here's the post. I guess I should say something before I disappear. I want to clear the air that I didn't quit Lalcal Crypt. I was put into a position that me walking away was the best outcome. I hate seeing friends hurt, and people were attacking Jaffe and Tech in real life. Tech was the other co-host of the show. They had people show up and want to fight family members. They had people threatening to attack siblings and family members, and they had police called to their property. I've been a victim of a I botched that one. Let's try that again. I've been a victim of a nearly year-long campaign of hatred and a doxing campaign. They targeted my income, my personal relationships, and my property. They would find someone who would donate to me and then send them thousands of dollars worth of cash on delivery services. I'm very emotional, and I hate to see people who have supported me and been friendly with me for years get abused, and it took a toll on my mental health. I've had people attempt to tow my property off my yard, and I had people come steal things from my property. They would offer grills, ice chests, statues, and things like that for free on Facebook, and then people would come and take them while I was away. I would have hookers show up at my house at 3 a.m., and threats of gun violence against me on the daily. They'll sit around and pretend it's the videos that they made that pushed me to leave the internet, but it was illegal activity that they do in chat rooms that Discord and Discord support would never help me do anything about. They would use these same tactics against people around me to get them to share phone numbers and DMs and personal effects. This problem is much larger than me, since I noticed more content creators are suffering with similar groups. This is a new problem that policing hasn't caught up to yet. I'm fully aware that I'm on the back end of my career as a YouTube content creator. I probably held on longer than I should have because of my weight issues. I'm only guilty of saying edgy things for the sake of getting views, and I've never actively harmed or hurt anyone my 18 and a half years online. I'm going away now, and I hope this isn't goodbye, but if it is, thank you for allowing me to entertain you. So, it's pretty heavy stuff, okay? If you believe everything that Jordy is saying in this post, which he pinned, by the way, making it the last post that he has on his page, and likely, I think he's making that on purpose, okay? That's pretty messed up stuff. Now, for the record, David Jaffe and Tech did not say this on Lalcal Crypt, that they were getting harassed, their family members were getting harassed in real life. They'd never talked about that publicly at all, so no one really knows about that until now that Jordy has posted this up, okay? The truth is that internet bullying is a problem, it is getting worse, and the police are not equipped to handle it, okay? Some of these things are outright crimes, okay? Some of them is just, stupid nonsense. Other stuff, organized harassment, is a crime. I don't know if people are aware of this, but it is. You cannot organize harassment against someone. It's not allowed. It's against the law. You can get restraining orders put up because of it. You can actually go after someone both criminally and civilly. You could sue them after the fact. It is not allowed. Okay? But because it's on the internet and because these people are not doing things physically to people, they're getting away with it. So, for example, if someone actually came to Wings of Redemption's house and physically threatened him, he could call the police and have them arrested. But since these people are doing things online, they are finding information and having people do mass prank phone calls, sending food to his house, having people come and try to take stuff from him and stuff like that. They're getting away with it. They're anonymous on the internet and protecting themselves from any kind of repercussions because they're not publicly doing stuff to his face. They're essentially employing means on the internet to do it, if that makes sense. Now, there's tons of people who this happens to, but the reason that you don't really hear about it is pretty simple, because the more you talk about it, the more attention it gets. And the people who act like that do it to get attention. It's actually the only reason they're doing it. Okay? They want attention for themselves. Maybe they just don't have enough attention in real life. Maybe they don't have meaningful family and friends and people who they spend time with. So the only kind of feeling of meaningfulness in their life that they get is when they know that they've done something to harass or mess with someone else and there's a reaction. Because if they're doing all this stuff and there's no reaction, then there's no point to doing it. But the fact that there's a reaction, and now you found out what you've been doing has been hurting Wings of Redemption, ooh, so it was all worth it, right? Because it actually did something. It had an impact, right? There's people who get this feeling of like, there's some kind of warriors for justice because they're doing something mean to someone who maybe they don't particularly like. Particularly with Wings of Redemption, there's things he said and done over the years. There's behaviors that he's had on stream, and people just don't like him for various reasons, okay? In my opinion, I think that he's a flawed individual like we all are. I do think that there's things that he's said and done that were wrong, but I don't think that he deserves to be systematically harassed to the point where his life is miserable and now he's forced off the internet, okay? That's my take. You can completely disagree, and that's your prerogative to judge for yourself. That's life. We all agree to disagree, and we have our own takes on stuff. But I've had some interactions with the guy, all right? I don't think that he's Satan. I don't think that he's a horrendous person. I do think that a lot of his suffering is his own doing, meaning he puts himself in a vicious cycle with his actions, and he gets stuck in this cycle forever. And despite the fact that he's had many chances to get out of his cycle, he's the reason he's still there, okay? He tends to always blame others rather than himself, but I do think he has to learn to take responsibility for himself for a lot of the mistakes that he keeps making over and over and over and over and over and over. All right? But, yes, there are some people who have been basically A-logging him like crazy and have had a distinct focus on getting him off the internet, and now it looks like it may have actually happened. Okay? So, I feel bad that this guy can't make a living on the internet because people are essentially doing things that are messed up and likely illegal. Okay? It just sucks that it's come to this. And he's right when he says something down here. He says, this is a new problem that policing hasn't caught up to yet. I guess I clicked on it and opened it again. It opened it twice. Here you go. I think policing eventually will. I just don't think it's going to happen in our, lifetimes. You know what I'm saying? I don't think so. I think that we're at a point where now a lot more people are eternally online, meaning their entire meaningful livelihoods and or lives are spent online. That to some people, this digital space is more real than the real life that's right outside their window. That's kind of a scary thought to really think about that. That virtual space for a lot of people is existence. While the real life around them isn't, they wish they could just be in the virtual space all day. And that's really what's led to people who systematically harass and bully people online, eternally online, you know? I just don't think that modern law enforcement has any capacity to handle this because they're not seeing it as a big issue, when in reality, I actually believe we have communities of tens of thousands of people online that are thinking that actual organized harassment is fine when it's not. organized harassment is illegal. I don't know if you're aware of this. It is 100% illegal. You can't do it. Not allowed. But no law enforcement is really going after it. The only times really that law enforcement has gone after it is if it resulted in a physical altercation in real life or swatting. Because a lot of people have been swatted and some people have gotten seriously injured as a result. Therefore, the swatting stuff is getting taken seriously. But outside of that, all the other kind of things that he's bringing up here, again, systematically doxing and harassing his contributors, going to their homes, sending them things they didn't order, stealing stuff off of his property, stuff like that. The police just can't handle it. Okay? They're not equipped to. They've outright said, we don't have the capacity to do this, you know? Years ago, now this was a long time ago, so who knows if this applies today, but years ago, I spoke with my local law enforcement about online bullying and harassment, and I said, is there anything that could ever be done about this stuff? And they said, basically, no. We're already stretched to the limit with what we're allowed to do. You know, we don't have time to go after online bullies. There's nothing we can really do about it, even if they're breaking the law, you know. And then they referred me to the FBI, who I did try to contact, and they never responded. So they don't really care about this stuff, you know? So it really sucks because here's my take, all right? It gets to the point where you have to find a way to deal with it. And for me, it has never ended. I want to make this abundantly clear to all of you, okay? You may notice I don't really talk about this kind of stuff anymore. I don't. Unless I absolutely have to, I don't bring it up. But it never ended. It does continue. There's still harassment that happens and there's all this nonsense. I just don't talk about it anymore. Why? I'll tell you why. Because when you do, you're giving attention to these people. And that's what they're doing it for. They want this attention. So the more you bring it up, the more that you promote it, the more that you talk about it, even if you're bringing it up in a way to say, oh, woe is me, it sucks, it's happening to me, feel bad for me, and that may temporarily benefit you, it doesn't benefit you in the long run, because then those people feel like, oh, I actually did have a negative impact on this person, I'll keep going, I'll redouble my efforts, I'll go even further, I'll push it just a little further to mess with this guy just a little more. And that's the problem, okay? So I've essentially stopped really talking about any of it. You guys have absolutely no idea when these people are messing with me, and you don't need to, all right? As long as it's not directly affecting a stream, we're good. Thankfully, the things that used to directly affect my streams don't affect them anymore. So we're good. I'm able to stream and have a good time with you and put out the content. So that's why you're not going to hear about any of this crap. Whether it happens or not, it's not worth bringing up, okay? But in the case of Wings of Redemption, it sounds like they got so bad that he just couldn't avoid it. So I've already said this before, and I'm going to say it again. What in the holy hell are we listening to right now? Hold on one second. That sounds atrocious. I'm definitely muting that sound. I don't want to hear that one again. What was that supposed to be? It actually distracted me. Okay? That was so bad, I had to thumb it down. And give me 1 second, because if you haven't noticed, with my new camera angle, my lighting is now it's actually in the frame, which I don't want it to be. I'm going to move that slightly too. Yeah. Better. Not in the frame anymore. Cool. Okay. So, let's get back to what I was saying. I said this before, and I'll say it again. Oh, let me actually go to the next song. Okay. I said this before. I'll say it again. If you're on the internet and you watch a streamer or you follow a YouTuber or whatever it may be, do a very, very strong effort as much as you can, because I know nothing's foolproof in this day and age. You must make a concerted effort to hide your real life identity, okay? Right now, if you're sitting in either of my chat rooms, or if you're watching this on demand and you're leaving a comment, make sure the name in that chat is not your real life name. Make sure that that real life name is not linked to your social media. Don't have it be the same name as your TikTok account, or your Instagram, or your Facebook account, or your Discord account, or an X account. Differentiate your identity online. Make it so that just because you're in a chat, no one can now find out who you are in real life. The reason is, even though you may think, oh, I'm a nobody, I'm no big deal, no one's ever going to do anything, you have absolutely no concept of what it's like for someone who lives eternally online. To them, that chat that you are in right now and are typing and watching, or that comment section that you're in, that's their life. That's literally all they care about, is online recognition. So even though for you, you might be chatting and having a good time and joking, to them, that's serious fucking business. And if you rub them the wrong way, if you spell a word wrong, or you dot the I in a way that they don't like, they may actually not like you and actually try to harass you for no good reason. Because these people don't have reason. These are not normal people who have lives, friends, relationships, jobs, and things that are positive that they care about. These people literally live online. So to them, anything that happens there is the focus of everything. So if you piss them off for some reason, whether you intend to or not, they may actually try to hurt you. And then you've got to deal with endless amounts of nonsense. DMs, messages, posts, thumbs down, phone calls, emails, all kinds of bullshit that you don't need. And all the time, people ask me, hey, Phil, do you have a Discord? Will you ever make a fan Discord? Will you ever get... No, never. I will never have a public Discord. I will never have a place where I would put my viewership and my fans at risk for these A-logging, no-life idiots to come after them. I would never want someone who's a supporter of mine to go to a Discord, and now because they're there, all the trolls get their information and start harassing them in real life. Now, I'm not saying that that doesn't happen, that people don't get harassed. They do. But I make it abundantly clear, I'm not providing the means for that to happen. All right? If you go out of your way to go do online community stuff, that's up to you, but I'm not involved in it. My content is literally right here. It's my stream, it's the chat, and that's all I care about. I'm not caring about anything outside of here. I'm not making any opportunities for risk or any kinds of problems for anyone. Okay? So, you've got to be incredibly careful with what you do online. This is something that increasingly has become more and more serious over and over the last 10 to 15 years. It's just getting worse and worse. It is. And you have to understand that. That you're in a situation where, yeah, you may think it's no big deal, but you have no idea. If you haven't been in that situation where you've got people stalking you, quoting your every word, A-logging every possible thing that you do, you have no idea to what extent these people will go just to try to get a reaction out of you. So, trust me, it's better to err on the side of caution and not mess with these people than to be sorry after the fact, okay? So, be careful what you're doing. Right now, again, if you're a part of my content and you support my content, I really appreciate you. You guys are the reason why everything has been so awesome in the last couple of years, how things have improved so much, how we're trying new kinds of games, how we're trying new kinds of things like Pokemon content and stuff like that. That's because of you. But you got to be careful. You got to be safe. You got to understand that for all of us who are happy and having fun, there's a lot of people out there that are miserable, no-life losers who sit on the internet and just try to hurt others because they don't have anything good going for them. They get their pleasure in others' pain. And so you got to make sure that you have all your doors locked, if you know what I'm saying. I don't mean in real life. I mean basically online. Everything should be secured. Be sure that nothing is, unsafe. Two-factor authorization. Differentiate your logins. Differentiate the names you use to log in. Don't have everything linked together. Be careful. All right? In regards to Wings, this is incredibly sad. Really, it is. Listen, again, I know the guy's not above reproach. He's done some stuff that people have rightly criticized him for. And like I said, I do feel like his cycle of problems and failures in a lot of ways are his own doing. He's had ample opportunities to get out of the situations that he seems to be stuck in. He wants to be stuck in it. Because if he didn't want to, he would have gotten out of it by now. Okay? But is that an excuse for people to try to ruin his life? To try to take away his livelihood? To mess with him in real life? To mess with his supporters in real life? Absolutely, positively, no. There's no excuse for this level of behavior besides the people who are doing it are broken humans. So, I'm sorry to hear this. I do hope that this guy gets his stuff in order and sorted and that he's not, bad off as a result. But, it is what it is. And, sad. Hopefully, it'll, get sorted and he'll be able to come back and have fun on the internet again. But at this point, it's not sounding too good. Okay. I just got a tip from someone claiming that they can't talk in chat, so I'm going to try to find their YouTube account. Yes, to the person who tipped me $2, you were somehow blocked or banned or whatever. I don't know why, because I don't recognize your name. But I just took care of that, so now you should be able to talk in chat as of right now. Thank you for $2. Yeah. So try to talk and see if you can. You should be able to. You have been unblocked. Okay. All right. So one topic out of the way. Now on to my other big topic for the show. But it is time for me to do the obligatory begathon. So for those who are here enjoying, because I know there's a lot. There's over 200 people watching on YouTube. We got a good crowd on Kick. Let's get some support this morning. Let's get some super chats, some tips, some, I'm having a brain fart. Some super chats, some tips, some subs, some kicks. Let's go. Let's get some variety of support on the stream right now to get some momentum going. Remember, for $50, we could do a Pokemon card pack opening. I don't think we'll do that today, but it is an option, okay? Let's go. Let's get our first sub of the day. Let's get our first kicks of the day. How about a super chat that's bigger than $2? Let's go. Let's get some support for the Level 1 podcast this morning, all right? Let's get some flexes on. Okay. All right, are we ready to get to our next topic? All right, let's do it. So, ladies and gentlemen, today is June 5th, 2026, and you may not be aware, but that means that today is the 1-year anniversary of the release worldwide of a particular console, which I purchased at launch last year, called the Switch 2. This is it. And in 1 year, I have done some pretty good amounts of gaming on my Switch 2 and a good variety of content. What I would like to do in honor of the 1-year anniversary of the release of this console is talk about my history with the console, what I did in the last year, what I thought about particular games, what were exclusives and what weren't, what I thought about the controller and more, so that you can have an idea of if this is something that you should get for yourself. Because this actually was a big question about a year ago. If you guys remember, when the Switch 2 released in 2025, a lot of people were questioning whether the Switch 2 console was worth the $450 that Nintendo had priced it at. Does this thing have enough of an advantage over the original Switch that you should run and buy it at launch? And the hot question was, well, what games does it have, right? What differences are between the Switch 1 and Switch 2? What is the definitive, reason that you should spend a lot more money to get this new version of the Switch? Or is it that maybe the Switch 2 is basically just an upgraded version of the Switch 1, and it really is being sold for too high of a price point at $450? Should this have just been something like a Switch Pro? Because for many years, people just wanted a Switch Pro. Like, no exaggeration, they were just like, hey, all we want is a Switch with a bigger screen, better graphics, better storage capacity, thumbsticks that don't drift, okay? All we want is these minor improvements, these little tweaks. Give us a Switch Pro. But then they decided they're going to make a Switch 2, okay? But now you're going to charge us $450, which is way more than what the current pricing of the Switch was at the time. And they would be pushing through and being like, hey, you know, here's the features of the console, etc. And if you remember the PR campaign that Nintendo had for the launch of the Switch 2, it was questionable. They were like, oh, so what's the difference between Switch 1 and Switch 2? Oh, well, there's going to be a webcam. What? Yeah. You can use it for voice chat and webcam capabilities. So now you can do it for social stuff. And there's going to be games where you're going to be able to put your face into this video screen in the corner of the screen. And you're going to be able to have face cam and communication with people over the internet. And everyone was like, we already have that. We have that on PC. We have it on other like it already exists. This isn't like you're not innovating something new. This is something that already is there. So what I feel the major difference was between the launch of other Nintendo consoles and the Switch 2 was pretty simple. The Switch 2 did not innovate in any way whatsoever. Okay? It didn't have an innovative touchscreen that it didn't have before. It didn't have motion controls. It wasn't storing things on tiny little discs. It didn't have a weird controller like the GameCube one that was supposed to stand out and be unique. You know what I'm saying? This guy is literally a Switch. Like it is. It's a Switch. And if you look at it, it looks like a Switch. It plays like a Switch. There's nothing new to it whatsoever. And you have to understand that's a departure for Nintendo. Nintendo usually, whenever they launch a new console, they find a way to make it innovative, to make it feel like they're standing out from the pack, that they're not just Sony or Xbox or just another console manufacturer. The reason they're selling you a new console is because there's something innovative in it that you can't get with their previous console. And even at times when it flopped, like for example, the Wii U. Yes, the Wii U did flop, but they did try to do something different by having the console also be a weird standoff controller with a screen in it. You know what I'm saying? Like, they did try. It failed, but they did try. The Switch had the unique motion controls. Or excuse me, the Wii had the unique motion controls. The Switch 1 was a actual hybrid, portable, and dockable console that had the power of a home console in your hands. They all had innovation. But the Switch 2... And for the record, when you really think about it, this is the first time that Nintendo just made a console that was numbered 2. Because you had the NES, the Super NES, not the NES 2, but the Super NES. The Nintendo 64 because it was 64 bits. GameCube, new name. The Wii, new name. Wii U, all right, you could argue that kind of sounds like Wii 2. But even then, they innovated by having the controller with the screen and the touchscreen on it. The Switch, totally new name. Now, Switch 2. So, yeah, even just then, it's kind of weird that they just called it the Switch 2 and didn't change the name. Maybe it's because they realized there was no innovation. Having a webcam and voice communication, which every other game console and or PC already had, is not an innovation. It's playing catch-up, and for the record, it's not very good. Now, I never bought the webcam for it, but everyone says the quality is poor. It's a low-grade webcam that's blurry, and basically no one really uses it because it's kind of a joke, and almost no games implement it, so why does it even have it? Okay. Quickly, we had a contribution here. I got a $5 tip. This person says, thanks for covering that wing situation. People bringing perspective. You're bringing perspective of a person who also deals with similar insane people, and it was a good segment. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you for saying so. I'm glad that you enjoyed the segment. And thanks for the $5 as well. I appreciate that. No name associated with that one. Okay. All right, so I got the Switch 2 at launch, okay? And I paid full price, $450 for it. Then you scalp it. I was able to pre-order it and actually get it at launch. Now, when it arrived, to be honest, there wasn't a heck of a lot to do with it besides play the launch title, Mario Kart World, okay? Mario Kart World was sold for more money than any Nintendo game before. And I mean it. It was sold for an ultra premium price tag. Okay? $80. Most games today are going for around $50 to $70. Mario Kart World actually charged $79.99 at launch because it was a launch title with the Switch 2. At the time, it was the only notable exclusive title for Switch 2, so really was the only reason to need to own the console. Okay? In a nutshell, Mario Kart World was a complete ripoff. I say that because Nintendo completely misadvertised it and said that it was something that it definitely was not in order to try to justify the increase in price tag. In reality, the game never should have been sold for $80 because it doesn't have enough content to warrant an $80 price tag. In fact, once you actually get into the game, you realize it has less content than most other Mario Kart games before it. So Nintendo literally just wanted to rip off the customer and make more money at the launch of the Switch 2. But the funny part is you won't really hear people talk about it because the way that Nintendo does things, they get hype behind something, but then just as the hype is dying and people start to reveal that maybe it's not as good as you thought, they're already on to the next thing. Because at the launch of Switch 2, as I just stated, the only notable console exclusive game was Mario Kart World. So everyone played it for a couple of weeks. But guess what? Within 3 weeks, there was another new console exclusive that came out that everyone was talking about, Donkey Kong Bonanza. And then within another few weeks to months, there was another one. So because they did this timed releasing, Nintendo created what I like to call artificial scarcity. What does that mean? It means that Nintendo purposefully timed all of their exclusive releases for the Switch 2 so that you would have just enough time to play one, get a taste of it, see what everyone was saying about it on social media in the community, and then just as when you would have got bored, they would release another game. Now, some people might say, well, that's savvy, right? That's something that it gets people not hyper-focused on one game if they don't think it's very good and it gets them onto another one. You're right. It's marketing. It's PR. It's smart. But it's dishonest. Because here's the truth. If when the Switch 2 released, it had 3 or 4 console-exclusive games. Like, let's say, for example, at launch, it had Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, Pokemon Legends ZA Switch 2 exclusive edition that had extra features and things like that, Fire Emblem, and let's say even one more. Let's say it had 5 games at launch, like Metroid Prime 4, okay? People would have choice. People would be able to go to the store or online and say, oh, well, I can only really afford 1 or 2 of these right now. Well, I like Mario Kart, and I really like Metroid. I'm going to get those 2, and I'll save the others for later. So what would happen is everyone would be able to play everything and judge it fairly. People would have to make decisions between games. And because that was the way that they had to do it, the truth about the games would actually be known. But instead, because they do it the way that they did it with this really metered approach and the timed releases, everyone rushes to buy Mario Kart World because it's the only game exclusive for Switch 2. They play it for a few weeks, and then as they're getting bored of it because it doesn't have any content, oh, now Donkey Kong Bonanza's out. Well, you got nothing to do on Switch 2. Run and buy this one. Okay, let's run and buy this one. Oh, wait, you're done with that one now? Well, now here's this other one. So everyone just keeps buying and buying and buying because in reality, there's not a lot of content that's exclusive to Switch 2 at all. In fact, are you aware that in the year that Switch 2 has been out, the exclusive lineup is absolutely abysmal? And it's so funny because even Nintendo fan sites that usually hype up things like the exclusive lineups of games struggle to actually list games that are exclusive for Switch 2. Let's take a look. We are 1 year into the launch of Switch 2. And if you take a look at these games that are listed, some of these aren't even out yet. Beyond the Dark Knight Watch doesn't even have a release date, yet they list it like it's out. Card and Casino. Wow, what a great exclusive. Donkey Kong Bonanza, which we just talked about. Drag X Drive. Did you hear about that one? I didn't. What the hell is it? Who knows? eFootball Kickoff. Huh? Fast Fusion. That one's a year old. That was a launch title. Did anyone play it? I never heard of it. Fire Emblem. So there's going to be an exclusive Fire Emblem game on the Switch 2. Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment. No exaggeration, I heard people talk about this game for 2 days. And after that, I never heard anyone ever mention it ever again, as if it never existed. Kirby Air Riders, again. You had Mario Kart as the launch title, then they had another racing game just a few months later. Basically, I didn't hear anyone talk about Air Riders either. It kind of came and went. Mario Kart World we've already talked about. Mario Tennis Fever. Now, there's always a Mario Tennis game for every single console. I'm not shocked that they had one, but did you hear anyone really abuzz for Mario Tennis Fever when it came out in February? I didn't even see anyone talk about it. The Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour is actually an exclusive that everyone agreed was an insane ripoff. That was a game that you paid like $30 for, just for the Switch 2 to teach you its features, which anyone could figure out in 5 seconds just by booting the console. You didn't need to buy that to learn them, but they charged people for it. Orbitals isn't even out, yet they're listing it on this fan site as if it's out as an exclusive. Pocopia did do numbers. I will admit, that's one that I skipped. It's a hybrid between Animal Crossing and Pokemon characters, but a lot of people say it plays more like Minecraft Builders. I didn't play that one, but that one actually sold millions of copies. Why? Because it's a rare Switch 2 exclusive. Because it's timed to be the exclusive and there's nothing else to play. So people ran and bought it to have something to do to justify the purchase of their Switch 2. Pokemon Whims and Waves doesn't even come out till next year. It shouldn't be on this list. Pool Room Billiards. How many people actually played that? Shine Post Be Your Idol apparently came out today. Or, no, last year. Did anyone even know what that was? Splatoon Raiders supposedly is coming out next month. So that's going to be a Splatoon game on Switch 2 that's exclusive, but it's not out yet. Star Fox isn't out yet. Survival Kids. Dusk Bloods doesn't even have a release date. Tokyo Scramble is that hilarious game where a girl is being chased by brutal, hungry dinosaurs, and she's listening to K-pop music and laughing as they run on escalators as if it's a joke. No one played it. And Yoshi and the Mysterious Book, which actually just released a couple weeks ago, it's more of a kiddie game. It is a very child-oriented platformer. So, half the games listed aren't even out yet. The Nintendo fan site is struggling to list exclusives because there are none, and the few that are here are incredibly underwhelming. In fact, let's continue on, and let's talk about the next big exclusive that actually came out for Switch 2, Donkey Kong Bonanza. So, Mario Kart World came out and promised a huge open world, except the world was empty and had no reason to do any content in it. It didn't unlock anything. It was just there for the sake of being there. The people who actually like Mario Kart hated Mario Kart World because all the tracks were just straight lines. Because all the tracks connected, there was no circuits. And because there were no circuits, the game didn't feel like a real Mario Kart, and most people that like Mario Kart hated the game. In addition, the game was rife with item abuse, and it was more about learning how to get and implement the timing of items than it was actually driving. So even if you were good at driving, it didn't matter. That's not what Mario Kart World was about. The game sucked. And they charged $80 for it as if it had more content when it actually literally had less than previous Mario Karts. So the game comes out, is a huge ripoff, but most people are glazing it and kissing butt because, hey, it's the one game that I can actually play on my Switch 2, so of course you're going to think or say it's good. So then Donkey Kong Bonanza comes out, and everyone is glazing this game too, saying it's Game of the Year. It's the best Donkey Kong game ever. It's better than Super Mario Odyssey. Bullshit. Donkey Kong Bonanza is a 4-hour game. Now, it's longer than that when you play it, but it actually is a 4-hour game. What do I mean? Well, the initial 2 hours of the game introduces the destruction mechanic, which really is the only thing you end up doing in the game. You break things, you punch through walls, you dig, you destroy things, and you find hidden items in the walls. That's the whole game. That's literally the whole game. Are there animal transformations? Yes. They're barely used in the game. There's very few times when you really need them. And even when you do, it's over within 5 to 10 minutes, and then you're back to just destroying everything in the game again. So the gameplay loop is 2 hours of discovering how to creatively destroy everything. then about 15 hours of repetition that's insanely boring in the middle, and then the final 2 hours of the game, no exaggeration, is some of the most brilliant fan service game design I've ever seen. I'm purposefully not going to spoil the ending of Donkey Kong Bonanza, because if I did, it would actually ruin the game for those who would maybe want to play it in the future and haven't, or who are longtime fans of the Donkey Kong Country franchise. So all I'm going to say is, if this game was half and half, 2 hours from the intro and 2 hours at the end, and they cut the 15 hours out of the middle, they could have sold this game for $20, and it would have been a better game than the $70 game they gave you with 15 hours of filler in the middle. It's insanely repetitive and boring in the middle, and it sucks. So, again, another game overhyped because it was the only game out for this console at the time. So everyone ran and bought it and kissed its butt and glazed it. And in reality, it wasn't very good. Super Mario Odyssey was leaps and bounds better than Donkey Kong Bonanza, but no one said that because they were so busy being Nintendo fanboys and only having 2 games to play on the console, they all had blinders on and couldn't see the forest for the trees. You know what I'm saying? The next game that I actually played on the Switch 2 was Super Mario Galaxy 2. Now, this was an HD upscaling remake that also could be played on the Switch, and to my knowledge, actually played identically on the Switch as it did with the Switch 2. It's a good port. The game plays fine. I did feel that there were a few quirks, like, for example, sometimes Mario, as I was holding the thumbstick in a direction, would start to run in a circle, and I think that's because of the nature of the controls of the game. It's not a flaw of this port. It's just the game itself. Overall, I liked Mario Galaxy 2. I do feel that Mario Galaxy 1 is better than 2, and I know some people disagree with me there, but it was a fun romp, but it wasn't a console exclusive, but it performed fine on the Switch 2. Then I played Pokemon Legends ZA, and I played through the base game as well as the expansion DLC. This ended up being an incredibly long playthrough for me because my viewers really like Pokemon. And so we interacted a ton during this playthrough. We, enjoyed it. Now, here's the thing. The previous game, Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, had been a Switch exclusive, and that game ran incredibly poorly. It was very low frame rate. It chugged along, had NPCs popping in and out. It was really, really bad. So when Pokemon Legends ZA came out on Switch 2, everyone said, hey, since this is on Switch 2 now, is it going to run better than Scarlet and Violet ran on the Switch 1? Will it be a better Pokemon experience? Well, I can answer this honestly. The answer is yes. It was a better graphical experience than I experienced with Pokemon Scarlet on the Switch. The frame rate was pretty consistent. The graphics themselves were, full HD. They were better. There wasn't slowdown. There was some pop-in, but they did something interesting and clever with Pokemon Legends ZA. The entire game was based within a city walls. So because of that, you never really had a large draw distance out into the background. So the game didn't have to render things too far away. Therefore, it avoided the problems that Pokemon Scarlet had, where things would pop in and look terrible or be low frame rate in the background. Instead, you never really saw things too far back. So because they did it that way, it was kind of a tricky way to disguise possibly the fact that there would have been graphical problems. And I'll just say that overall, my experience with Pokemon Legends ZA was a positive one. However, I didn't like the fact that the game is full-on live action. While traditional Pokemon is turn-based and you can really plan out your moves and you can try to do status ailments and things and they matter, in Pokemon Legends ZA, everything's happening so fast and in real time, you don't really have time to plan. All you really do is mash. You mash out your most powerful attacks or the weaknesses of the opponent, and then you just move on. You don't really try to strategically do anything. Flip side of that is, I actually recently played Pokemon Fire Red, and that's a classic Pokemon game, and it's very strategic. So for me, I prefer the classic style, but hey, this is what they're doing with modern Pokemon, and it was a great playthrough that I experienced on the Switch 2, despite the fact it's not a Switch 2 exclusive. You could have played it on the original Switch. Then we have Metroid Prime 4. Oh boy. Oh my goodness. First of all, this game was caught in development hell for a long time, if you're not aware. Metroid Prime 4 was supposed to come out many, many years ago. And apparently the game was restarted at some point. And man, it shows. Because when you play Metroid Prime 4, immediately the game opens with the feeling that this isn't even Metroid Prime, right? Samus is not isolated on a planet by herself like she usually is in a Metroid game. Instead, she's immediately crash landing and trying to help people who appear to be in the middle of a fight like it's the beginning of a Halo game. So it doesn't even feel like Metroid at all when the game starts. Then you immediately have to rescue and find a character who blabs all the time. And that also throws you off because, again, typically a big part of the Metroid experience is isolation and the feeling of solo survival and exploration in this big world where you're like a lone survivor. And it's all taken away right away at the beginning. Then as you continue to play the game, it just doesn't feel like Metroid. It feels like a bunch of fans of Metroid tried to copy-paste what the previous teams had done making Metroid Prime games and failed. The controls are not nearly as good. In fact, they're quite wonky and not very specifically good, so you end up, a lot of the times, not being able to control the game very smoothly. The gameplay elements aren't very interesting. The first 2 worlds are boring. The enemies are uninspired. There's just nothing too interesting about the game. And then you finally get to a unique boss, and it starts spinning like a top, like you're fighting some cheesy Mega Man boss, and you're like, what am I playing? Like, seriously, what in the holy hell is this game? This feels nothing like Metroid. After only playing Metroid Prime 4 for around 4 hours, I quit it. I couldn't stomach another minute of it. I was so bored that I just didn't want to play it anymore, and my entire audience agreed. Why are we continuing on with this game that's a shadow of what this series used to be, just for the sake of saying we're playing Metroid? We'll just go play better Metroid games that already exist and play this piece of crap. So we dumped it. And that was the third big Switch 2 exclusive for 2025. 3 miserable failures. Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and Metroid Prime 4, all 3 games that were supposed to be the system sellers for this guy, were inferior games to anything Nintendo had put out before in those franchises. So, what do you need a Switch 2 for? Continuing into this year, we had the launch of the Virtual Boy, which really wasn't a Virtual Boy. It was just a plastic stand into which you put your Switch 2, and it would play Virtual Boy games with a simulated 3D effect. Now, I did actually get it. I did actually test it, and the games actually worked well. They did. And I actually enjoyed playing like Wario Land and a couple other games. But the problem was that you cannot capture from the Switch 2 when it plays Virtual Boy games. Therefore, you can only play Virtual Boy for yourself. You can never play the game and actually broadcast it to an audience or capture video from it. Hence, there's no point as a creator to ever getting the Virtual Boy games because you can't show anyone. So if you want the experience of actually owning a Virtual Boy in the 1990s, then by all means, buy this $100 plastic stand with 2 lenses on it, stick your Switch 2 into it, and enjoy, but you can only get the experience for yourself. If you actually want to play these games and capture them and share them, you have to play them emulated on the internet, which you can do for free right now. There's entire sites that have the entire library of Virtual Boy games emulated, and you can just play them in a browser for free. But it's kind of disappointing that Nintendo was literally advertising this as the return of the Virtual Boy in a big way, only for them to sell you a plastic stand that really, in reality, didn't actually excel at anything. Pretty lame, and actually, in my opinion, just another attempt of Nintendo to try to misadvertise something as something it wasn't, to try to get attention on a console that didn't really warrant it. Continuing on, the next game I played was Pokemon Fire Red. Yeah, Pokemon Fire Red, the game from like 2004. That was a Game Boy Advance game. So they sold it on Switch 2 as a $20 game. To be fair, it ran well. I actually really enjoyed my time with it. But did it have any additional features? Did it have any added content? Did it have anything to warrant a $20 price tag when Nintendo already has an online subscription service called Nintendo Switch Online where you get a library of games for free every month? No. It was a blatant attempt of Nintendo to nickel and dime their customer base and say, hey, we know you probably already have a Nintendo Switch Online account, but we're not going to give you this game on there. Pay us $20 for it instead. And I can totally understand why there's people who would be like, why would I pay more? You should just put it in the existing library of games. They should have. Nintendo, once again, just like when they were charging $10 extra for Mario Kart World for absolutely no reason, we're now charging $20 for a game they easily could have just slipped into their existing online catalog, but they wanted more money. The next game that I've played on Switch 2 is called Pokemon Champions. This is a free-to-play game that has a gacha mechanic. And what I mean by that is that this game, essentially, is an online multiplayer-only game. There is no exploration. There is no story. There's no towns. All you do is go into the game and pull Pokemon from a Pokemon ranch. You then select which ones you want for your team. You can train them up by using the in-game currency that you earn by playing to unlock movesets and, equip them to the Pokemon. And then you have a team that you take online and you duel against other people. If you win, you gain experience and currency. If you lose, well, you lose the experience, and you got to try to redouble your efforts and win matches so that you can actually get a win streak and get more currency. Ultimately, it's all about continuously pulling Pokemon to add to your team, trying to find the best builds, and then getting to the higher level tiers of the game, the higher level leagues, per se. It's eventually going to have a crossover with mobile devices, meaning right now you can only play it on Switch or Switch 2, but eventually you'll be able to play it on mobile devices, and that crossover is supposed to take place during the summertime this year, and that's probably going to massively spike and increase the amount of people who are playing the game. So I just recently got into it. It's not super complicated. It's actually kind of fun if you only care about the dueling, and it's kind of suspenseful to see if someone steamrolls you or you steamroll them, or it's a really tough match and it goes back and forth. Ultimately, is it an important game? Not really, but it's kind of a fun one, and hey, out of all the games that I just mentioned, it's the only one that's not an outright ripoff because it's free, and so far in my experience, you don't have to spend $1 on it. You can, but if you don't, you could still play, you could still draw Pokemon, you can actually bring Pokemon in from Pokemon Home, which I guess is the app that carries Pokemon between all the various different Pokemon games. So you can import your favorite Pokemon from your other Pokemon experiences to get them in there. It's really not that big of a deal. I'm actually wondering what their actual monetization model will be, because as of right now, I don't see how they're making much money or any money on the game. It's free, and I don't think many people are paying for it, so I don't know how they think they're going to make any cash on it. Just saying. But so far, I kind of like the game, and I'm looking forward to more. So, no exaggeration, outside of a few more retro games that I played on Nintendo Switch Online, that's all I've played on my Switch 2 in a whole year. The big releases and exclusives were Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza, and Metroid Prime 4. And there hasn't been another big exclusive since then. And there has been no real reason to play this besides Pokemon games that I could have been playing on my regular Switch anyway. So in reality, 1 year in, is there a reason to have a Switch 2? Well, unless you want one of the 3 console exclusives I just mentioned, or unless you're looking for the absolute best graphical performance on a game that performed poorly on the Switch, the answer is probably no. But I do think that there is an audience that would really appreciate this. For example, Pokemon fans who really were disappointed by the performance of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet on the Switch 1 have said this is the ideal way to experience the game, and they feel like that's how it should have been at launch. And now if you're going to play the games, you shouldn't even bother playing them on Switch 1, but should exclusively treat them like they're Switch 2 exclusives because they perform so much better. In fact, I've already had demand from my viewing audience to go back and play Scarlet or Violet again, or to do the DLCs I didn't play on the Switch 2 because it performs so well on there. Now, I know that I've been very critical of the Switch 2. There is one positive thing that I would like to say, overwhelmingly positive, that I feel should be called out. The Joy-Cons are pretty good. I remember on the Switch 1, playing on the Joy-Cons was kind of a nightmare. And what I mean by that is they had stick drift, they had problems, they were quite frustrating to use, and quite honestly, they just weren't a good controller. The Joy-Cons were made as like a weird motion control hybrid, but you could use it as a normal controller. If you use that plastic piece, you snap them together, it becomes like a normal controller. But the Joy-Cons never really controlled well and never felt satisfying. I mean, they don't even have a D-pad or anything. I played all of the first 3 games, including Mario Kart World, Donkey Kong Bonanza and Metroid Prime 4 with these Joy-Cons, and they worked absolutely fine. They're actually quite good as a controller this time around, and I never experienced stick drift or any problems, and I played through, those entire first 2 games, no issue. However, there is one thing I absolutely have to call out, which is an absolute joke. Nintendo says that the Switch 2 has the capability of being a mouse. That you could take this Joy-Con and you can put it down on a flat surface and it has a light sensor on it or whatever it may be, and you can move around and use it as a mouse. Well, yeah, technically that's true, but I tried doing this in multiple games, notably Metroid Prime 4. It's absolutely terrible. It's incredibly inaccurate. It doesn't really move at the speed you would want a mouse to move. It's either way too slow or way too fast, and it's just not viable for aiming. Just using the Joy-Cons as a normal controller is infinitely better than trying to use this as a mouse. In fact, the one game that you would feel like you would want to use this as a mouse in, Mario Paint, which they did release on Nintendo Switch Online, is incredibly hard to play with this as a mouse. The original mouse for the SNES back in the 1990s was better than this as a mouse in 2026. So, the 2 things that Nintendo said were innovative about the Switch 2, the webcam and voice capabilities so you could do social, stuff with people over the internet, and this being a mouse, are both ridiculous. They don't innovate. It's not anything new. There is literally nothing new whatsoever about the Switch 2, besides the fact that it's a bigger screen, it's got slightly better graphics, and it has a few console exclusives. A year later, is it worth $450? Only if you wish to play one of the 3 big exclusives that I mentioned already are kind of crappy, or if you want the best graphical experience on a game like Pokemon Scarlet Violet. Outside of that, I really couldn't recommend it or tell you why it's worth $450, because it's not. Most of the games that I played and enjoyed, like Pokemon Legends ZA or Pokemon Fire Red, I could have just played on a regular Switch. I didn't need this guy for it. Oh, and by the way, even though I did just praise the Joy-Cons, yeah, I caved, and eventually I bought a third-party controller from PowerA that actually, in my opinion, controls better than the Joy-Cons. Even though the Joy-Cons are fine and I played entire games with them, I'm much easier to just jump into using a normal controller like this, which is only like $30 or $40 online, and it just feels a hell of a lot better than using those Joy-Cons. So ultimately, the one thing about it that I praised, I already replaced, so it's not really that big of a deal. Sadly, I'll end it by saying this. Something that I said about a year ago, and I still stand to it. I feel like Nintendo has become like Apple, okay? What do I mean by that? Well, many, many years ago, Apple used to be an innovative company. They designed unique PCs and experiences on PC you could only get on an Apple device. Then they started doing innovative technology like the iPod, and then the iPhone, and then the Apple Watch. And all of those things stood out. The iPad, right? And that was great, but that was a long time ago. Here we are in 2026, and Apple is still putting out iPhones every year. They're still putting out new versions of the iPad and the Apple Watch. But do you really hear people talking about it that much? No. But are you aware that every single time that they put out a new product, there are people who run out and buy them in droves? There are people who try to scalp them? Yeah. Why? I don't know. Apple stopped being innovative a decade ago. But yet they have this rabid fan base of people who consume everything they put out, no matter what it is. And in the case of Nintendo, it's pretty much identical. What I mean by that is, we've got people who will buy no matter what Nintendo puts out, they must consume. So when Switch came out, everyone wanted Switch Pro with a bigger screen, better graphics, more storage capacity, improved Joy-Cons. Nintendo said, no, we're going to give you the Switch OLED, which gives you a slightly better screen and better speakers and a better stand, nothing else you want. And guess what the Nintendo fans did? They went out and bought it in droves. So Nintendo was rewarded for giving an inferior product to what the fans wanted. So then when Nintendo says, we're going to make another console, do you think they care about innovating? No. Why would they? They know that no matter what they put out, their fan base is going to run out and buy it anyway. And they did. It was hard to get a Switch 2 for about 2 months when it came out last year. It was back ordered and sold out everywhere. And it wasn't until around the fall when stores started having them on shelves. And now, of course, there's a million of these things and you can get them anywhere. They're, fully stocked. But the point I'm making here is, since you don't make Nintendo try, they're not going to. If you consume every single piece of content that Nintendo puts out, if you buy every device and peripheral that they manufacture, they'll continue to pump out garbage and not be innovative and not be creative. There was a time when Nintendo stood out as the company that always tried hard, and when they did a first-party exclusive game or they had a new console, there was going to be a million new innovations, great things going on, and everything was awesome, right? Today, Nintendo has not really continued that methodology. They're of the impression that their customer base is just going to buy everything they put out, whether they try or not. So they stopped trying. And in fact, they've actually gone to the route that now they're milking their customers for more and more. $80 for a launch game in Mario Kart World when actually the game is completely misadvertised and has less content rather than more, so it doesn't justify the increased price tag. Metroid Prime 4, which is blatantly made by people who didn't make the previous games and have no idea what they felt like, therefore they make an inferior game. A console that for the first time ever has absolutely no innovations whatsoever. Zero. Yet, they're pushing it out like a new console you must own when there's nothing in this console you need. That's the new Nintendo way, and that's what Apple has been doing for the longest time. So, get used to it, because as long as people keep rewarding mediocrity, that's all you're going to get. And that's what Nintendo has decided to do in the modern era. Since all you want is mid-slop, we'll give you mid-slop, and you'll like it, and you'll pay for it, and you'll even say it's great. You'll say the Switch 2 is an amazing console. You'll kiss the butts of the game developers and say that Donkey Kong Bonanza is better than Mario Odyssey. In reality, we're actually kind of in a gaming rut when it comes to the mainstream developers. Nintendo right now in the last year hasn't really pumped out a must-play game, yet people are acting like everything is fine. I don't think that people are in reality right now. Or at least as someone who grew up playing Nintendo when they really were innovative during the days of SNES and Nintendo 64, it's very, very disheartening to see that Nintendo doesn't think they have to try anymore and everyone just says everything they do is great, when in reality, none of the stuff they're putting out is anywhere near things they did in the past. It's disappointing, it is disheartening, and it's a slippery slope. Because once we start going that way, everyone else might follow suit. If we just keep buying everything that Nintendo puts out, why would they try? And I think that's the situation that we're in. A year into Switch 2, sadly, you don't really need it. Now, maybe that'll change, but here's the truth. What's coming out for Switch 2 soon that we need it for? Star Fox? Well, that's a remake. It may be great, but it's still a remake. Splatoon? Outside of that, is there a major Mario game coming out anytime soon? What about a Zelda? What about anything that's a notable game? Nothing. Now, that could change. We are during the classic week of June where a lot of announcements happen, and we very well may have a lot of these announcements happen. However, as of now, there's really no reason to have this right now. Duskblood, someone just said. We don't even know when that's coming out. Yeah, I want to play Duskblood just like you guys, but we don't have any clue when it's coming out. So, a year in, and everyone's shrugging, what do I do with this console? It's a good question. Okay, now it's time for me to ban a bunch of people on Kick who have been misbehaving the entire time. And I'm not unbanning them, so don't ask to be unbanned. Because you took advantage of the fact that I was in the middle of a segment to act like fools. And now you can all be banned permanently and never come back. Let's see how many people I banned. That's 5. I think I got them. I think it was 5 people who were spamming nonstop. Oh, 6. Okay, we good now? Did I clean up the chat? Yep. Okay, you're never coming back. I don't even care. I really don't. Yeah, I was in the middle of a segment, which everyone knew I was going to do, and these idiots sat there abusing the commands, spamming, so the entire chat was just spammed lines of code, and no one could talk. So go fuck yourselves. You're never coming back. Don't even ask. I don't care. Go fuck yourselves and never come back. Done with your nonsense. Okay. Alrighty, guys. So, whew. That was a hefty podcast. We talked about a lot. We got a lot out of the way. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. Now what I would like to do is open up the show to Q&A, and let's see what you guys want to talk about, and go from there. We'll talk for about another half an hour, roughly, and then we'll adjourn to a little break, and then we're going to try out the 7th Guest Remake and see if it's any good. Okay? So if you enjoyed the show, if you liked the topics, the Wings of Redemption, the Nintendo Switch 2 Retrospective, please support the stream. All right, as of right now, yeah, it's been kind of a slow start, but that doesn't mean that the rest of the stream will be. Let's get our first sub of the day. Let's get some kicks. All right, let's get a super chat bigger than like $2. Let's get some support for the show. And again, if you remember, a $50 contribution, we will do a live unpacking of the Pokemon Phantasmal Flame cards. I would love to do that for you on the show today. Particularly, I'd like to do that now rather than later after 7th Guest has been played for a while. So if you're interested in that, let's get that going. How many bans? I think it was 5 or 6. I mean, they know that it's not allowed, and they did it, and they thought they were going to get away with it like little school children. They thought, oh, look, no, the teacher isn't calling me out for it. Oh, well, guess what? It's because I was busy. And as soon as I was done, I took care of it. I flushed the toilet, and now the turds have stopped spinning. Idiots. Do I think Kick is a worthwhile platform to stream on? Yes. Okay. Here's a few things that I could say about Kick. There are some things that they do well, okay? I do feel that the chat itself is better than the YouTube chat because it has moving emotes, which are really nice. It's got cool features like channel points that you can accumulate and do fun things with your viewers. The income over there is great. Like the subs, the kicks, it's huge amounts of income compared to YouTube and Twitch, who each take a cut. On Kick, they barely take any cut at all. So you're making a lot of profit if you get partnered over there, okay? The problem on Kick is discoverability. There really is none. Like, you can't just go to Kick and say, hey, I want to see someone play this game. It's not going to happen. There's not going to be, like, big categories or features. You know what I'm saying? It doesn't really happen. You need to go to Kick because you know someone on Kick is already streaming on Kick. It's not like you're going to go to Kick and really discover people there, if you know what I'm saying. And to be honest, Kick is mostly known as an IRL streaming site or a gambling site. Yes, there's other content on the site, but for the most part, it's either IRL streams or gambling. So that's the primary focus of the site. And, you know, if you really want to make it big there, that's kind of what you have to do. I don't. So my content is always it's a supplemental thing that I do. It's nice to co-stream somewhere else other than YouTube for those who don't want to watch on YouTube. And it is profitable to stream there. But I wouldn't choose one day to be like, oh, I'm just going to completely abandon YouTube and go to Kick. Does that make sense? Like, Kick doesn't even let you save or archive videos. So your streams can only be archived for like a week, and then they delete them. You have to take those videos off the site and purposefully put them somewhere else, or else they get deleted and you can't have them up there forever. So, yeah, it is kind of very limited with what you can do on that site. But I like it for streaming. I do. Okay, I have one major complaint. Okay? Literally one major complaint about Kick. You can only stream at 1080p. That's it. You can't go any higher. You can't do 1440p. You can't do 4K. They limit their streams to 1080p. Why? Because it's supposed to primarily just be IRL streams and gambling. And if you're doing IRL and gambling, why do you need 4K? You don't. They don't really care about the graphical fidelity of a video game because it's not really a gaming streaming site. You need to know that if you're going to try to do stuff over there. Okay? Okay. Alex from Phoenix, thank you so much for a $10 super chat. That's our biggest super chat so far today. Let's get that up on a leaderboard. Alex says, I seriously don't think that these are hot takes. The entire industry has been in a rut for a while. That's a fact. Some just don't notice until everything hits rock bottom. We used to get more for our cash. Yeah, and in my opinion, a big problem is dishonest content. And what I mean by that is there's too many big prominent creators who are now basically under the control of the people in charge of the industry. These creators are given everything for free and they're giving it early. So they cover it in a way that says everything is good. They don't really have to justify their opinions. Like, how many people got a Switch 2, Mario Kart World, and Donkey Kong Bonanza for free, played the games for a couple streams and never played them again, but said that they were the best games ever at the time? So now their entire giant viewer bases believe that and will want to run out and go and buy it and spend money on Nintendo, when in reality, the only reason that creator ever did it was because they benefited in some way. I don't believe they got a direct paycheck from Nintendo, but they know it's, hey, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. If I say your content is good, your game is good, your console's good, that means that everyone else is going to go buy it, and now I'll continue to get opportunities from you. I'll probably be flown out to industry events for free. I mean, we just talked about it recently, that for the launch of Forza Horizon 6, there was a few people who got flown out to Japan and got all expenses paid vacations in Japan attending a real-life Forza Horizon festival just for the fact that they were going to play the game and say it was good. So they didn't get paid directly, but they got paid. You see what I'm saying? So how can we say that today anyone is honest about these games when so many people are of the mindset that if I do the right thing and I say the right stuff, I get rewarded? I'm going to make money. I'm going to get views. I'm going to be prominent. I'm going to be able to keep doing this for a living. Everyone wants to kiss butt to get ahead. Everyone wants to get that bag by any means necessary. And no one is, I don't say no one. A lot of these bigger creators aren't making genuine content. They're making paid advertisements, and a lot of them don't disclose it. That's a problem. The problem is it's now become so rampant. It's become so prominent. It's now synonymous with the content creation, and now it's a norm. So because that's normal, oh, they're glazing this game at launch? Well, that's just because that's fine. That's the industry norm. No, that's not fine. You shouldn't have people with millions of subs, thousands and thousands of views on their streams, literally only playing a game because they're getting something out of it and saying it's good because they benefit. That should never exist. It shouldn't be allowed to exist. It should be outlawed. But instead, it's the norm. These big butt kissers. If you heard that someone got flown to Japan to play the exclusive freaking, Switch 2 game, if you heard someone got flown for the Forza Horizon Festival or that, you know what you should do? Boycott their content, because they're a shill and they're bad for the industry. It's toxic. It's dishonest. But sadly, it's becoming more prominent. So now everyone thought Switch 2 was the best thing ever when it came out because so many big creators said it was. They don't even fucking play the thing anymore. They played it just for the launch of the games and then they dumped it because there's nothing on it. Yet they said it was a fucking great thing, so why don't you play it now? Oh, well, I don't have any money in doing it right now. Exactly. Caterade, thank you for a $10 super chat. I appreciate that. Oops. I'm pressing everything but the 3. He says, I truly believe the 10th generation of consoles will be the worst we've ever seen. There's no reason for innovation anymore. Consoles have equal powers to PC. Okay. Nintendo obviously has stopped trying. This is the evidence. They're not going to try again. They don't need to. They know that if they make a Switch 3, everyone's going to run out and buy it because everyone apparently is just a brainwashed fanboy who's stupid. They will not learn, right? So Nintendo is done trying. What about Sony? Well, Sony's in a position they don't have to try because they don't really have any competition in the console market. They're number one, and Xbox has fallen off so hard that they know they don't really have to do much. They're just going to always be the prominent console when it comes to serious games that aren't Nintendo. So they're good. So they don't have to try. Xbox is the only company right now that really has to try. If Asha Sharna is serious about bringing Xbox back in a big way, she has to make that company try as hard as they ever have to make great games, innovative features, good value for the dollar. They have to become prominent again and notable again in the eyes of gamers, because right now they are not. They're the only ones. Now, if they try and they actually succeed, now Sony will have to try again. And if we actually have competition between Microsoft and Sony again, maybe Nintendo will have to try again. But you're right. In regards to these modern consoles, they're not much different from PCs. In fact, they're now trying to have all the features of PC rather than stand alone as a console. So, yeah, if you just get a gaming PC at this point, you pretty much have beaten everything else besides the few exclusives that you must play on the Switch too. You just get a gaming PC and it's kind of a cover-all deal. So you're right. This next gen of consoles, I'm curious what it's going to be. But I guess it really hinges solely on the shoulders of what Xbox does, okay? Oh, someone just tipped $2 and they're tattling. Are you ready for this? They said, well, Super Bonchan was also spamming in your Kick chat when you were doing your Switch 2 coverage and you didn't ban him. Super Bonchan, someone doesn't like you. Are you aware? Someone's tattling. They tipped me $2 to tattle on you. They said that they were standing in the hallway when you were kicking Bobby's shins, and they wanted me to know that. Who has a bug up their ass about you, Super Bonchan? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's it. Let me get my ruler. I'm coming for you, Super Bonchan. I'm coming for you. And he's quiet. Super Bonchan's not saying a word. Super Bonchan's hiding under his desk. He's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Who's Super Bonchan? I never heard of him. He has not said a word yet. Wow. That's amazing. Okay. All right. Guys, we still got some time. What else would you guys like to chat about? Actually, you know what? Let me go put my Switch 2 back on the dock so I don't knock it over here. I have just received 3 $50 tips. We're opening 3 packs on today's podcast. I'm just kidding. I didn't get anything. Nothing happened. What are you, silly? Don't be silly. Okay. Now, I'm sure this is absolutely legit. Jessica Pony on the YouTube side just said, hey, do you lift weights? It's cool seeing a gamer who's actually in good shape, too. Well, yes, I do. Thank you, but I don't think that's legit. I think this is someone intentionally coming over here. Okay. And for the record, we have 3 flexing animations that I play for gifted subs or for super chats lower than $5, and if one of them randomly plays, I'll do a nice flex on stream for you. So there you go. Okay. All right, so let's, whatever you guys want to chat about last 10 minutes or so of the show, please tag me in chat. Save Us GTA 6 says you should unban all of them, but then reban them for snitching. Well, there you go. Let's do that. No. Spirit says, is Castlevania one of your favorite franchises? See, here's the thing. I haven't played many modern Castlevanias. I love the classics. Castlevania 1, 2, 3, and 4 are super good games. And then recently, well, it isn't really recently at this point, but when the Genesis Mini came out, I played Bloodlines, and I actually really liked Bloodlines too. Now I'm playing Symphony of the Night for the first time through, and I really like that. So I think classic Castlevania, yes. Modern Castlevania, like I played Lords of Shadow 1 and 2. I didn't like them that much. Like 1 was all right, 2 I hated. And I don't know you know, what else I would play. If they made another modern Castlevania game, I'd probably try it. But I love classic Castlevania. I really do. Sean says, what's your favorite Soulsborne game? Tough question. I'll probably still go with Dark Souls 1, because that's the one that started it all for me. Like, I played Dark Souls 1 first before I played any other FromSoft game. So I'll probably still go with that, although it is rough around the edges and it hasn't aged well. And if you say, you know, you play games like, you know, Dark Souls 3 or Elden Ring and stuff like that, you could argue, yeah, they're way superior games. But I think Dark Souls 1, I still has that place inside where it's like, damn, that's what started that genre for me. So I still really like it. SNES Patrol says, any interest in playing Castlevania Dracula X after you beat Symphony of the Night? Well, first off, okay, number one, Symphony of the Night isn't doing that well right now. Yesterday's stream did not do so well. One person did a big contribution at the end, which was nice of them. But if it wasn't for them, it actually would have been a very dead stream, which sucks because I really like the game. I played 3 hours of it yesterday and just didn't do that well. All right, so I like Metroidvanias, Castlevanias, but I don't know if it's going to work. I think this game right here, Silksong, and then playing Hollow Knight, the original, was the exception to the rule because they're modern games that I always, you know, I missed out on Hollow Knight, and then Silksong was new, and it was very challenging. People like seeing me, you know, play through and learn and suffer through it, but beat it. But I don't know, these classic ones, like, I would love to try Dracula X. I would like Rondo of Blood is in that collection, along with Symphony of the Night. I'd like to play that, but I don't think it's going to work, honestly. If Symphony of the Night already is dying off, right, then I don't think that we're going to be able to keep playing others. But maybe it's just we do it in the future. I don't know. I guess we'll have to see. What do you mean I never change category on Kick? My Kick stream should say the right thing right now, doesn't it? It does. What are you talking about? Absolutely, my Kick stream is named correctly. I've never played 7th Guest before. It's a new experience for me. Like, I'm familiar with the game because I've heard so much about it, but I've never played it. Sean, I do not play games off stream. I purposefully make it that I play games on stream exclusively. I do not play video games when I'm off stream. That way I cannot get burnt out. Because imagine this. I'm sitting here all day playing games. Then off stream, I'm playing games. I would get burned out. You know what I mean? Like, I would get seriously tired of it. So I'm happy that I don't. I'm happy that I do that separation. And gaming is what I do on stream. No, not even mobile games. At this point, I'm not even kidding you. I play one mobile game. That's it. Like, I was playing a few and I was like, I play one mobile game. And I play it for maybe like one. There's 2 times a day I log into it. And once I play it for like 15 minutes, and the other I play it for like 5 minutes. And that's it. I've kind of lost all interest in mobile games. They're just not interesting to me. Even the new ones, every once in a while, a new one will come out. I'll try it. I'll be like, sucks. They're just not that interesting anymore. Outside of Street Fighter, what game has hooked me more than that? Call of Duty. I used to play a ton of Call of Duty back in the day, like Modern Warfare 1 and 2. I used to play the shit out of those. You know, I really did. I played it a lot. I got hooked on it. I really enjoyed it back in the day. So I'd say Call of Duty is probably like my second most played, honestly, when you really think about it. And then when I was younger, it was always classic RPGs, like the classic Final Fantasies, like 2 and 3, which are actually 4 and 6. Those I played a ton over the years. Absolutely, Sean. He says, that's fair. It must be annoying to miss some games you'd like to play. Absolutely. Metaphor. 100% I wanted to play Metaphor. I tried it on stream. It didn't work. I never played it. I doubt I ever will. There's some games that I've always wanted to play, like Lost Odyssey. I don't think I'll ever get to play it. I've always wanted to play Lost Odyssey, do a playthrough for my audience, but since my audience isn't very RPG-centric, it's hard to play certain kinds of games. Kane says, 7th Guest Remake has been available in VR for a couple of years. I own it on MetaQuest 3. Well, good. I'm excited to play it. I'm glad to hear it's good. I don't know much about the puzzles or whatever, so hopefully I could solve them. Did I like any character when I played Dead or Alive? The biker. The biker guy was the guy who I used the most. Clyde Cash, how are you today, man? Good to see you. Oh, I know I missed a ridiculous amount of PS2 games. 100%. That was an era I was not actively playing games, so I missed a ridiculous amount of PS2 games. That's why when I started as a YouTuber, it was cool, because at that time, they were actually making collections on PlayStation 3 that were like HD upscales of PS2 games. So I ended up playing like Jak and Daxter, Ratchet and Clank, and other collections, like for the first time ever, when they were actually being sold on PS3. It was a good thing, a good project for me to do different playthroughs and the like. We're going to do Summer Game Fest reactions on Sunday morning. I know it's this afternoon, but we're going to not live react because I've done it 2 years in a row and it didn't do well at all. It actually did poorly. And all the content will get demonetized for like copyright stuff. So instead, we're just going to do reaction to specific trailers and things on Sunday morning's podcast. I played Bloody Roar a couple times, SNES Patrol. I thought it was silly fun. It was fun to turn into a monster animal and start comboing and stuff. But I don't think it was a serious fighting game. I never played it as such. I just kind of messed around with it. All right. So let's go. Who's gonna drop $50 right now so we can open a pack of Pokemon cards before we get to 7th guest? Yeah, right. It would be nice if someone did, but we're not going to get it. Like I said, I don't think we're going to get it at all today. I think the days when I'm doing the trading card game or Pokemon will get it, but I don't think, like a day like today, I don't even think that crowd is here, to be frank with you. So, yes, this is my first time ever playing 7th guest. I've never played it before. Who the hell is Zelensky? I don't even know who that is. Who the hell is Zelensky? What Pokemon card sets do I have? We just started doing unpackings 2 weeks ago. I had a box of Mega Evolution. We unboxed the entire box and got a few pulls, but nothing great. The best card I got was a Mega Venusaur EX, which is like a $13 card, which sucks. You know, buy a whole box of cards, you only get a $13 card. Like, geez, you know, not even like a decent pull in there. It was okay, right? Now we are working on a box of Phantasmal Flames. We're 12 packs in, and we basically got like nothing. I think the best is a low punny that's worth like $3. So, we're hoping there will be good pulls in the box, but don't know. We'll have to see. We did a whole section on Wings of Redemption on the show. Just hit rewind. We already talked about it. Triple A, completely false. He says, you didn't play half of the Switch 2 exclusives. I just had them open. We went through them. I literally played every high-profile Switch 2 exclusive. Most of the ones that are going to be exclusive aren't out yet. Like Star Fox, not out yet. This Splatoon game, not out yet. The new Pokemon game, Winds and Waves, that's going to be exclusive, not out yet. All the big games that you want the Switch 2 for haven't been released yet. The 3 big ones that did come out, I played and all suck. Mario Kart, Donkey Kong, Metroid, they all suck. Like I said, Hyrule Warriors or whatever. People talked about that for 2 days and it was done. No one cares about those fucking games. Like, seriously, the whole Dynasty Warriors, what are they called? Musou games? That formula is so played out. It only actually is notable if it has an IP attached to it that people like Zelda, and then they'll talk about it for 2 days, it's done. That's not a true exclusive. Kirby Air Riders, are you fucking kidding me? The game's barely a game. It plays itself. You know, no one cares about that. Tomodachi Life is probably the... Oh, not Tomodachi Life, excuse me. Pocopia is probably the one that I would say I missed. Tomodachi Life isn't exclusive, right? Isn't Tomodachi Life on Switch 1 as well? Do I have a favorite Elden Ring boss? Oh, I'd have to go through them all, but I did really like what's his name? The true version of Moog. The one where he has the wings and everything. That was pretty neat. It was pretty unique boss. Exactly. Caliban says, I played Hyrule Warriors when I was at Target. I thought it was fun, but it's not worth 500 bones. It's a Musu game. If you've played one, you've played them all. And listen, I think they're fun. I played the very first Hyrule Warriors many years ago, and I thought it was a good game. But is it worth buying a $500 console for? Absolutely not. Oh no, we're done with the Switch 2 retrospective Mercury plays. We covered the bases there. Just we're doing some ending Q&A here to end the show. Last chance, guys. If you have something you want to chat about, now would be the time. Tag me in chat to talk about it, because we're going to end the show in about 5 minutes. Do I think the Switch 2 is as bad as the Wii U? Here's the thing. The Switch 2, at the very least, has things that people kind of wanted. Like, what did people say they wanted with the Switch 1? Better graphics. Okay, you have it. Better storage capacity. Technically, I guess you have it. It's not that much more, but yeah. A controller that doesn't have stick drift. I played 3 major games with the controller. I never had stick drift. Okay, so it seems like they fixed the problems that people had with Switch 1. But they didn't really try to do anything new, right? Wii U tried to do something new and failed. People didn't want this ginormous controller that had a screen on it and touch screen with a stylus. They just didn't care about that at all. You know, they actually thought it was more of a hindrance, and a lot of people just liked using their Wii U with a regular controller rather than the giant screen thing, you know? Like, who said, oh, there's a big demand that the kids can still play video games while the parents can watch TV at the same time? They invented a problem that didn't need to be solved when they made the Wii U, and that was kind of the problem there. And sadly, the games lineup for Wii U, actually, in my opinion, wasn't bad. I thought that the Wii U lineup was decent. There were some good games on Wii U. It's just that almost no one played them because everyone thought the console was terrible, so no one bought the console. Oh, I don't even know what's going on at Summer Game Fest. I'll know, over the weekend, and then you tell me Sunday morning what to react to. I don't even know what they're going to have over there. I really don't. I'm glad you're enjoying my Dark Souls Age of Sunlight playthrough from last year, Sean. Good to know. I liked it. I loved playing it again. Yeah, Mighty Monarch, literally no one was watching when I played Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Like, I'm not kidding. Right now, I'm just sitting here talking with you guys. This is more successful than that playthrough. When I was playing that game, I had no one watching. And people who were there, like, which was barely around 200 people, wouldn't even pay attention to the game. They'd just be sitting there talking about other topics in the chat, and no one would support the streams. And then people were, like, upset that I stopped playing it. I'm like, none of you were there. Why didn't you show up? We Snaw has gifted a membership. Thank you for our first membership of the day. I appreciate that, We Snaw. Very nice of you. Am I going to play Tomodachi Life and Splatoon Raiders? Well, Tomodachi Life, here's the problem. I would like to play it. However, it seems like when it comes to certain kind of games, people don't like waiting. Here's what I mean. I want to play Pokemon Champions, okay? But when I go to play it, everyone just yells at me Why aren't you just playing the game? Well, I have to recruit Pokemon. I have to set them up with builds so that I can actually go online and fight people and beat them. If I just don't have good Pokemon and I don't set them up with the right loadouts, I can't win, right? Oh, well, we don't want you to do that. We just want you to play. But you can't win if you don't do that. Well, that's boring. It's menus. We don't want to see you stream menus, right? So, if I were to play Tomodachi Life, all right, I boot the game up. You're on the island. You immediately have to create your islander. This would be like, probably, no exaggeration, a couple of streams. Me making characters who I would want to be on the island. Let's make up some video game characters. Let's put a movie star on the island. Let's put a superhero on the island, right? Let's put some streamers on the island. Let's be silly. But that's going to take time. It's going to, no one's going to, oh, he's creating characters. Oh, this is boring. Why isn't he just playing the game? Because I have to set it up. And I stream so much, I don't have time to be in here and set up hours and hours of behind-the-scenes content for Tomodachi Life, particularly because it may or may not work. Imagine if I play it, and we do 2 streams of it, and it's dead already. Well, I spent all this time setting it up. What a waste. You see? So, if people were cool with just chilling with me while we did stuff like that, I'd be like, hey, tonight we're going to make LTG in Tomodachi Life, right? Let's do it. And you guys help me to build LTG, decide what his sayings will be, what his likes and dislikes are, what his personality traits are, and we do it all together. That would be fun. But then half the people will be, oh, this is so boring. Why is he just playing? So I just kind of stray away from it. Rather than create the situation where people are just going to complain, I just don't bother with this thing that they'll complain about. You know what I'm saying? I'd rather just do stuff that likely will work without the constant complaints. What was the other one he asked about? I missed it. Or I forgot, actually. Oh, Splatoon Raiders. I don't know much about it. I tried playing the last Splatoon game. It flopped. Like, I bought it and played it 2 streams. Second stream, everyone complained it was too boring. So I just stopped playing it entirely and never went back. So I kind of follow suit. If I've tried something before and it just didn't work, it probably won't work again. So, for example, I bought Subnautica a long time ago. We played it for a while. I think I looked it up and it was something like 13 parts or something like that. So it worked for like 2-3 streams. Then people got bored. And that was the end of it. So then Subnautica 2 came out. And I said, well, we already tried it. And I guarantee you they didn't reinvent the wheel here. It's probably going to be the same game. Why would I play Splatoon 2? People were like, we'll try it. All right, fine. So I tried it. Flopped. No one cared. Like, of course. I knew it was going to flop. Because I already played the first one. So if I've already played Splatoon 3 or whatever it was, and it flopped miserably and no one liked it, why am I going to play Splatoon Raiders? No, Big Mac, we're just winding down. In fact, I think it's about time, we'll wrap up the show. It's around 2 hours. I wanted to do around a 2-hour show today. All right, so guys, I hope you enjoyed the show. Really, I do. What a great week. This has been a great streaming week. Hopefully today we have a good day. Hopefully you'll stick around for 7th Guest Remake. I hope you'll come back tonight for Friday Night Fights, old school Street Fighter fun. But overall, great week, right? Really had a good one with all of you. I'm looking forward to next week as well. Keep in mind, I will be reacting to Summer Game Fest and the Xbox Showcase stuff starting Sunday morning. We may not get through all of it on Sunday morning, but morning shows next week will be loaded with this reacting to gameplay. And then later on in the week, we're going to look at a new React project. What big React thing could I do in June for variety so we're not just doing gameplay? We're going to talk about that as well, okay? Thank you guys for an absolutely great episode of the Level 1 podcast. You guys are an awesome audience as always, and I thank you so very much for chilling. I will see you on Sunday. I wish you the best. Have a great Saturday away. Perhaps get caught up on my content in the meantime. And I will see you all soon. Thank you guys. Peace out. See you then.